And now, more with Social Women with your hosts, Pat Cruz, Amy Diaz, and Bronwyn Dannenfelser.
Because we are welcoming Samuel Vartan. And
thanks for having me.
He is one of the best designers I know. And
that's way too much pressure.
Oh, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. And we actually met through Style Week.
That's right.
2 years ago when they first started, through their first show. Style Week's been tremendous. And they really have brought the attention to a lot of the designers and stores and just everything fashion. So Samuel and I were talking, and we thought it would be very important for listeners to learn about sizing.
Sizing.
Yes, and the average woman's size. And, you know, what's the line of, you know, no matter how bad you feel, Marilyn Monroe was a size whatever.
I believe like 8'10".
8'10", or
oh,
yeah, even bigger I've seen actually.
I heard it was 14.
14,
12,
yeah,
12.
12,
Oh,
14,
really?
but anyway. So everyone should feel good. But first of all, you know what? We take a minute and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, we were saying about how Style Week has been good. I think Rhode Island has been amazing for me here. And of course, a lot of things did start through Style Week, but I've had I just had another meeting here earlier too, so I find myself in Rhode Island quite often.
Because you love us.
And I know you guys are ready to adopt me.
I know that Samuel has been talking to Barnaby Evans about Waterfire and doing a fashion show at Waterfire. How cool would that be?
I would love that.
Yeah, runway across the basin and the fires there.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I know.
You're talking my language now.
Oh, yes, Rhode Island loves you. Yes, we
Yes,
do, most certainly.
So you're
real quickly. I'm now local. I still produce the majority of the line out of Montreal, which is where I'm from. It is a women's and men's collection, predominantly women because women are the larger buying market. Of course, it's different in Montreal. Men almost shop as much as women because we buy to seduce too. So we're very into
we buy to seduce. I like that.
So I miss that part about Montreal, but I think these are the things that are
you brought it here with you, though.
Yeah. Well, I did introduce it at the last Style Week show, a peek at some of the men's, and I got such a response. So that was fun.
That's good because most don't know how to dress.
They're
that's
not
what I'm here for.
not.
I'm the doctor.
Many. I'm sorry. I shouldn't.
And that's
feel
why
like
we're
that.
having such a hard time finding the polished shoes.
How
And then
to dress.
and overall in general, when things like that GQ article came out, if you remember about Boston coming in on one of the worst dressed, was it GQ?
Was it?
Yeah,
Boston.
the worst dressed.
Boston worst dressed. Yes.
You know how many emails and questions that I got, and I felt like, what am I going to say? I can't lie and say, "Are you kidding? We're the top-notch fashion city."
No, they're horrific.
But I have my reasons for believing we are where we are, the way we are.
Why is that?
New England. Well, New England, particularly Boston, this is the first place the Puritans came to land. We have a lot of those aesthetics that are still attached to us. The other big thing is sports. Sports is a huge dominating scene. And for me, as a fashion designer, and I think most of my designer friends, fellow designers would agree, fashion and sports are not necessarily the best bedfellows. The whole world about the way you dress for sports, they do definitely have their own dress-up style, but it's quite opposite from what fashion,
fashion forward statements. Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I just found myself going to the PC game on Sunday.
Right.
At the Dunk. And asking myself, because this weekend was supposed to be the weekend, according to Pat Olson, that I was going to meet my guy and I was going to choose between my shoes and all that other fun stuff. So, of course, I'm going to a PC game, and I think to myself, I have to look somewhat presentable.
Right.
And I'm like, but I'm going to a game. I can't be dressed up because that's just not what you do. You don't show up to a game all dressed up. So instead I
do.
No, but I said to myself, it's today or it's never. Yeah. So I put my skinny jeans on, cute boots, and a tank top with a little blazer. But again, people there, I know, tank top with a blazer. But it looked cute. But I got there and everyone was in jerseys and in t-shirts. And
I think that's what it is. It's the sportswear clothing that people wear, like jerseys and all that. They're all made to look big because everybody knows that clothing is big here, and especially with sports, you look at all these football players; they're all huge. I don't know why these baseball players are huge, but
not only that, but I mean, football jerseys, hockey jerseys, they have pads underneath them. So
and plus, on top of that, so they incorporate that into their stores. You know, when you go buy the jerseys, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, their idea of medium is maybe my double XL.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm very generous in my sizes too.
Yeah, let's talk. Can we talk about like these sizes? Because I heard, and I thought maybe this was right, that over the past few years, sizes have changed. What used to be a 2 or a 4 is now a 0, or what used to be an 8 or a 10. You know, everything's kind of going a little bit in reverse. And there was some thought that it was to make people feel better about themselves because everyone got so hung up on these numbers and these sizes.
Right.
Is that true?
And you know what? It is numbers, because if you, I'm sure ladies you've experienced this before, when you go, let's say, what are the stores here? Anyways,
if you go to Providence Place Mall.
Yeah, or you go to the store, you go to Banana Republic and you buy a dress in a 4, and then you go to another store, let's say Zara, if you ever go. I know they don't have one here, but you go to Zara and a 4 there is like miles apart.
Yes.
But that's the general thing with every clothing store, has their own, or the company has their own sizes.
Charge, yeah.
Right. I mean, there has to be a general area that that a 4 is a 4, but they change dramatically when you compare them.
It also wouldn't also have to do with the designer, and I shop a lot online, and for some reason I always tend to I end up shopping in stores or websites that are from the UK,
right.
And the sizes there, like if you go to my closet right now and you look at a lot of my dresses, they're size 10, 12,
right.
UK.
Right.
And a lot of my friends, whenever they borrow them, like, oh yeah, they'll look at the size, they're like, you don't wear a size 10. I'm like, I don't care what the number says. At the end of the day, when I put it on, it fits me like a size 2.
And that's,
so who cares?
And that's what I try to tell my clients. And this is such an interesting subject, because I've had to deal with this ever since I became a designer, is that women just open up to you so easily, and they say,
But you're very trusting to begin with, because I think your personality.
Well, your heart goes out
to
because they're under pressure, and sometimes I look at them. What in the world do you have to be under pressure? Look at you. They've forgotten how to look at themselves, because everything is based on what this fashion industry, Hollywood, is telling you. Okay, now they say, yeah, but thank God for people like Kim Kardashian, a fellow Armenian, which I don't care much about, but that's besides. I don't know. No, there's class, and then there's there's class.
Boy, do I love you.
Anyways, but I mean, she's full-figured gal. She looks great, and then there are people like that kind of like put a relief into the picture, because when Kate Moss became big, I said, oh my goodness.
She needs a hamburger.
What are we missing out here? Yeah. What am I missing here? I don't get it.
Yeah.
Plus 5'4", she's a model, and she's -0. I don't know what.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, do they have minus sizes?
Yes, they have double zeros. There are double zeros out there.
I will never do a double 0. I think it's the most ridiculous thing in the world.
It's like you might as well go to the limited kids and shop there.
Yeah, just go to a kid store and then buy those sizes.
So, what is the average size that you're designing for? If you had
I design 6. People in my trade are usually, they do like 0, 2. They think 4 if they're nice, they'll think. But most of them are 2s. Let's be honest.
What is a 6? Like bust weight, and waist and hips. Like
what's
yours?
To me, a size is determined by your torso, I think, overall. So that's from your bust to your hips, and the question is like, what is a good size to be, and what is that? It has, there's no such thing as that. Everything has to do with your bone structure, whatever God's given you, and you do the best that you can for that. If you try to, if somebody tried to lose so much weight to get into like as a lower number as possible, it's going to look like it's not even normal on them.
Exactly.
They're going to look sick. It doesn't make sense. You're made to be maybe a nice robust 8. I've seen knockouts at 8, and we're not even talking about plus size models yet, and you see what's happening in that world. So there's a lot of topsy-turvy things going on. Now the plus models are becoming popular, but it still leaves a huge question mark. What is the right size?
The right size.
There is no right size, ladies, honestly. And you know what? Don't trap yourselves
into a numbers game.
Yeah, and reading ridiculous articles about what designer is dictating this, or what they're saying is I don't know what a trend is. I don't chase trends.
It's interesting because most of my friends and I are the same size number. We share our clothes. We go shopping in each other's closets, but everything looks completely different on every single one of us. One of my friends has bigger breasts than I do, or bigger hips, or a smaller waist, but everything looks completely different on every single one of us. And at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter, because my size 4, the way that it looks on me, someone would be like, oh my God, that looks amazing on you. But then just because you're the same quote unquote size, you might need a different number just so that it looks the same way as it does on someone else.
But see how it is, how psychologically, how the women get affected.
It is.
They think,
It is psychological.
It's all psychological.
Why am I a different number than her? And then,
why not?
And then even with mine, I still have to tamper it to make it fit. So what? Because by the time you tamper it and you make it fit good on you, here's the other interesting part, ladies. It's not really even about the fit. I've had models who looked great in my clothes. Tell them to walk in my clothes, they don't know what to do with it. So what else are we talking about here?
Yeah.
It's your confidence level.
Right. Let's talk about, too, not just the models, because, the models we know many of them. They're phenomenal. But the average woman, too. I think that some of the keys, too, for feeling a little bit more confident is to wearing something that looks good on you.
Yeah.
Or that you feel good in, if you could just pull that tag out of the back that had a number on it and say, here is the outfit. This is the piece that you're going to be wearing today. It looks fabulous on you, and not say what size it is. I think many women would feel so much better
if women could say, you know what, I'm a proud 8.
And I feel like women don't understand their body types. There's the pear shape, there's the
hourglass figure.
Hourglass, and again, at the end of the day, at size 4, I know that I can't fit. And it's funny because a lot of people are like, you weigh what? I'm like, yes, I don't care for the number. At the end of the day, as long as, if I need to go to a store and if it's a size 6 or a size 8 that I'm going to pull to put a skirt on just because I know thank you, my Dominican family has given me my last name, let's just say my last name is very, very appropriate for my body. If I need to go up to a size 6 or 8 just so that it fits me well, I'm going to rip that tag off and say, I'm wearing this, and who cares what the size is? It looks good.
Well, you can always white out the tag and put the number you feel that you should be.
Or you can do that.
Well, that's what, Samuel, you're like one of our top designers that we've got, that we've seen kind of grace our presence. And you're saying it's not the number. Throw the number out. What are the 5 words?
I'm not even saying you didn't have to throw the number out. So I'm saying be truthful about what you are and enjoy it and embrace it.
And the best way,
you don't have to take the 8 out.
Would you consider the best way of doing so, or really starting to come to terms with it, is measure yourself. Know what your measurements are. What I always do, because I do a lot of online shopping, and the best way that I do it is whenever I go to select a size, I check the size chart, and I don't even look at the top numbers. That's the last thing I do. I go to what my breasts, my waist, and my hips. And most of the times, because I don't even know what kind of figure I have, they don't really match. So I go to the average. Whatever the average is, if I need to take it in later on or I need to let it out later on, then whatever. I'd rather go a size bigger because it's easier to take in than a size smaller, because I'm not going to lose the weight. It's not going to happen. I'm 27 years old. If I work out every day, I can't lose any more weight than I'm already at. So it's not going to happen. So I'd rather go bigger and take in.
Right.
And I look at that. I don't look at the numbers. And that's the last thing I do, is look at the numbers so that I pick the right thing to do to buy. And
and maybe on another subject, I don't know if we would have time today, but the really interesting thing is to figure out why we've come this far, and why particularly women have come this far into terrorizing themselves in their bodies because of what probably is still a men-dominated industry dictates, because it's the men who are the idiots. They don't know what they want out of women. they don't know what they want on the runway, and they don't know what they want in bed. Let me be that blunt, because what is attractive to you physically and what should be on aesthetically on the runway, are you kidding? Why? I never got it.
I don't think they know is right. And he's here talking about the importance of knowing what size you are and really not caring about it with women, and why we're taking it so personally if we're a 4 or a 2 and not what we really are. And why is it? Why is it that?
I think, like I said,
why is it that we don't embrace our bodies for what they are? for our genetics,
and not understanding that if you take your bodies for what they are, there's no doubt about it. I mean, if you need to lose weight for health reasons, you should be losing. I have to lose weight. I have to lose 35 pounds.
For health reasons.
You know what? I'm a guy. Nobody ever
reasons.
tells me, like, are you kidding me? Nah,
That's different.
For health reasons.
For health reasons, I'm a father. I got to be in good shape.
Exactly.
Okay.
Stand next to me. I make you look thin.
Hey, man. I love you, man. But here it is. The key is to be honest about what you have and do the best that you can get out of what you got. And if you can't deal with that, then you're going to have issues. That's where the problems start. How many what do you think we can come up with some examples of Hollywood, of people who are not so slim, who are known to be on the much more weightier side and yet still have sex appeal?
Exactly. Well, we were talking over the break. There was a picture on Facebook circulating about a week or two ago, and I posted it and actually got a little
I'm
bit
actually sharing it right now on all of our pages so that we have it.
Yeah, and it's a picture of 4 young ladies, Heidi Montag from Laguna Beach, Nicole Richie, Kira, and Christine. And then the second half of it is Shirley Temple. Who is it? Elizabeth, Marilyn, Betty, and Shirley. And the picture reads, "When did this become hotter than this?"
Right.
So you have young women in today's age that are very, very, very skinny. I will not use the word thin because I feel like when you're thin, it's just something that's naturally, and there's
you're
really nothing
thin.
genetically thin. But skinny is something that you become, not
Right.
something that you are.
Right.
And Heidi, for example, 10 surgeries to look that way.
Wow.
Right.
10 surgeries in one day to look that way, plastic surgeries. And that to me is a problem. When you have to alter your body to look a certain way because you feel, whether you want to admit it or not, that that's the way it should look to be acceptable in this society.
And folks, you know that girl, no matter what, even if she gets the body that she wants, she'll never be happy.
Never.
Because the problem is not there. The
It's
problem
not in
stems elsewhere.
It's not in the physical. It's in
you, about how you feel about yourself,
Inside.
how it projects, whether it's physically, emotionally. It always starts back home. The home base is your psychological state of mind, your emotional state of mind.
And that's the important piece, because I think a lot of people, that's right. No matter if you are, I'm not a size 2, I'm not a size 4. I'm not going to be that again. When I was younger, I was that stick thin that couldn't gain weight ever. But you have to mentally come to terms with.
I'm glad I met you now.
This is where I am now, and you have to come to terms with what that is, instead of always trying to be what. It's just not going to happen, and it doesn't
Pat,
matter.
when everybody sees you in public and they see how happily you stroll down the aisleways, the runways, you say hello to everybody, and you still exude confidence. And confidence, ladies and gentlemen, is where real sexuality, interesting sexuality comes from. Not from somebody who's tiptoeing, unsure like this.
Yeah,
but you just got $1 million makeover. You got to be okay with this.
Not necessarily. If
Not
it's not in your head, it's not going to happen.
As you say, as a designer, I wanted to ask you this. 5 words that describe your whole concept of design. Is it comfort? Or what are these things? Because I think they probably reflect what you're probably telling women that they need to.
Well, comfort is important, but it's not necessarily the first one. I think that you, I don't know what the word would be, but I think that definitely one is like, you should be able to put something on and have the fun element. Now, fun, it could be meaning that, some people buy my clothes and they're transported to a whole other, sometimes it's theatrical because of the fall winter line. Although I don't think I'm crazy theatrical, but
You're fun.
Fall winter has a certain look.
You are fun.
And because I have a specific clientele that I cater to in spring, summers, about clients of mine who mainly reside and they have fun in the European coastal, resorts. Mm-hmm. Okay, but still there too. I mean, you have women who are on those famous nude beaches of all sizes, and nobody points a finger, says they should be doing this. Nobody cares. Mm-hmm. Just be confident. That's interesting.
Confident, fun.
Confident, fun, well fitted to your body, meaning that it doesn't lie. some people, they're putting on a jacket and you think that button's going to fly in your eye in a second. And I'm just as guilty of that too.
Well, can I just tell you what, that blazer that I wore the other day doesn't have a button anymore because it fit me just well. But you know what? It fit me well in my arms and everywhere else, but it wasn't buttoning. And I'm like, you know what? It doesn't even look good buttoned. So I'm cutting the button off and I'm letting it be where it's supposed to be because it looks cuter because you can see the tank top inside. But there's a great way to make you feel better about what it is that you're wearing.
That's it. I mean, and not overly designed. I think I'm more of a minimalist because I really want to show the woman's body more than my clothes hiding it,
And what's great about being that is that you can match a lot more than when if there's a lot of detail or it's harder for you to be able to wear things more.
I mean, I have some dresses that are that have a particular print that you just leave it alone, you wear it on its own. But a lot of my stuff, as you ladies know, especially Pat, you've seen a lot of the shows. I mean, you can easily mix and match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so in that way, I mean, that's how it should be fun. Yeah.
For size as well, because I have been to shows of his where, the models on the runway, they are not size 0.
They're voluptuous. That's
they're
what I grew up on too.
Kelsey,
it's a lot,
we love Kelsey.
Yeah.
And Kelsey's one of our models that are not a size 2, and she's 6 foot or
2, 1.
Yeah, she's just larger bone girl, and she looks great. And you know what it is? It's the confidence because she's not a 0, she's not a 2. She knows she's not going to be, but she is confident and feels great walking around. What helps that? So if there are listeners out there, what helps that? What can they do to make themselves feel more confident without having to feel like they have to stuff themselves into a size 2?
I need to add my point on that. So I think that, like with a lot of issues in life that I think not just what we're talking about, I think everything really starts with how you're raised, the confidence level you're given from a young age. Okay, Kelsey is clearly somebody who's a very happy person, no matter what. She is, she's always upbeat. When I'm near her, I feel like I just got like power surge going through me. She has that thing, and when she wears your clothes, and she knows, okay, it might be a little bit of a struggle to wear Samuel's clothes, but we work with stuff that we can, and when it works, without kidding ourselves, it's her confidence level that seals it.
Yeah,
and that's the key. We're going always back to that word confidence, and be realistic about what is good on you. So
how about some tips on listeners who are not a 2, not a 0, and it doesn't matter, but what can give us a quick tip of where they can feel that confidence? Is it just ripping off that number of the tag and wearing it and feeling good about what they're in?
I don't know how much time we have for this, but I'll tell you one thing. Go with the right friends to the stores who will be honest with you about you.
No, that's such a good point.
That is so important.
But you also need to go with the right friends, but be open to constructive criticism, because a lot of people will go with the right friends and think that the right friend is just being mean.
Right.
And at the end of the day, you need to take a step back and realize that it's not an attack on you, but it's trying to make you better.
And I think variety is the spice of life. We are all different. I am a 2, so I'm, but I can't put on a lot of weight.
Yourself
so
to,
it's like
the thing is, you're a 2, you're comfortable as a 2, that's your size, and I think most people just need to feel comfortable about what they're in.
So I can't believe
Samuel, how can our viewers get in touch with you? How can we connect with you?
Well, I still have a number out there that I give out to people that if they want to, if I have time, I'll work on a dress with them.
Okay.
Although mine is a ready-to-wear business, but it is 508-962-5334, and that all that information can be found on.
And what about a website?
www.samuelvartan.com.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much for joining us today.